What's up, everybody? This is BakaBites. I'm Frankfurter. That is Magically Average. And today we are doing our spring 2026 anime review for the season. So we are just going to hop into it because we do have a lot to discuss. We initially had watched entirely way too many episode ones. We've definitely narrowed it down. You said you had about 9 shows that you finished, I want to say,
Mhm.
and then I've got 17 to briefly go through. But before we go through those, a little quick reminder as to what our rubric is. 1 through 4 are just different types of bad. Uh, if we give it a 5, it's completely average, not inherently bad, but still not good enough. 6 is fine, whether it's personal preference or peer pressure. The show is just a step above mediocre. There are certain qualities about it that make it enjoyable, however, more could have been done. 7 is good, multiple qualities, give it a positive viewing experience. 8 is great, consistently delivers quality episodes. 19 is excellent, stands out above the majority of other shows in its genre. And 10 is perfect. Other than a few personal nitpicks, the show is flawless, standing at the top of the library of anime. Basically, it's the pinnacle of its medium. So that is what our rubric is. We try to stick to it as best as we can. We do add like a point 0.5 in there for some shows because it is one of those things where it's like it is really darn close to being good, but it just kind of is just acceptable. It's fine. Not, it's just at the cusp if they fixed 1 or 2 things. Likewise, going up there or down the rankings. I think once we get into like below 5s, we don't ever do like a point 0.5. It's just various types of bad. But without further ado, there are a handful of shows on my list that like I did not get to finish. I want to go back to them. I have every plan to go back to them, especially because there are 2 specifically on this list that I started episodes. Like, I've gotten through maybe 1 or 2 episodes of the season. I thought they were great and I really want to go back to them. That is Needy Girl Overdose. I really want to go back to that. And then I know you're going to kill me for this. I need to go back to ReZero. I only watched episode 1 and I have not watched any of the rest of the season. I've also not been, knocking on wood here, spoiled for any of what has happened this season. So I'm very excited to go back. ReZero is one of those shows that I prefer to just binge watch each season. Like I'm not that, for whatever reason, that is a series that I hate doing week to week. I
Mhm.
just want to watch all of it all at once. So there's that. But other shows that I want to go back to, like I'll probably go back to and watch or listen to the dub. Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun season 4. Mao, I enjoyed despite it being, kind of like this generation's Inuyasha like.
Mhm.
I do want to go back and see if it's any good. And then another just slop show. I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world too. It was just a special episode. I'll get to it one day. So those are the 2, or like the most of the shows that it's like I've watched at least some of it, or season ones before, and I'll get to it eventually. I will say I did not watch the Ramparts of Ice. That is still on my to watch list. I know you've watched it, so you can talk about it later. But personally, it being the same mangaka as you and I are polar opposites, I do want to see it just to see the differences in writing. So
Yeah,
those
I
are my to go back tos.
I only watched 1 episode, so that's my only to go back to and watch is the Ramparts of
Oh, okay,
Ice. So
gotcha. All right. From here on out, we are just going to start at the bottom of our list. These are the worst shows, and then we will eventually make it into our top 3 shows for the season. My first one starts at a 4. I'm not sure where you're at.
5.5 is my lowest.
Wonderful. So I will start. Reborn as a vending machine. I now wander the dungeon. Third and final season. I give it a 4. It's really dumb. It's a really, really dumb show, but it's really fun. Like I just enjoy myself watching it. It's just not. You turn off your brain and you just enjoy the madness that happens. I will say the ending was actually satisfying enough, especially since it's like an anime original ending, because I believe the series is still technically going on, whether it be a light novel or manga. Um, so honestly, like for them to stick the landing, this is pretty impressive. But yeah, I'll have to find another really dumb series to sink my teeth into because this one was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're not gonna have problems with that, I'm sure.
No, I'm sure I won't. um, my next is a 5, and I think I don't know if you watched this one or not, or if you watched it to completion, but Mistress Kanan is devilishly easy.
That was my 5.5.
Okay, I gave it a 5. I just said horny fan service fun, but not much else to it.
Yeah, it it was like the first half. I had high hopes. I was like, okay, maybe this will be like it'll get more tame. We'll actually get a little bit more story. And then the second half, it was just pure unwatchable slop. Like it was bad. It was
Yeah.
not good. Like some of the scenes in the second half really were questionable. Um,
The volleyball scene specifically.
oh, but there was like the scenes with the younger sisters, and
Yeah.
there was, yeah, there's like the scene in the bath, and it was just there was a lot. There was a lot. I really, really, honestly, I didn't think there was going to be anything that would top Yawa Yawa Sensei. I think this this I'm pretty sure this tops it, but um that was a series too that I watched the first episode and I'm like, nope. This one I thought, hey, maybe this will be like my one just sloppy, crappy, whatever show for the season, and it turned out to be
Yeah.
way worse than that, way worse than I expected.
Yeah, this was just purely not good. Like again, this was fun and like there were moments in it that I thought were funny. Like in the second half, I will say the bath scene between the boyfriend and the dad, that
Oh,
specific banter I thought was funny, not what
yeah, yeah.
happens after that, but like where, the dad is introduced to him. I thought that that was also pretty funny.
I
But yeah, no, like there were some good bits to it, but at the same time, like it just was not good.
the one part that I did rewind and laugh hysterically at was the mother recounting the moment that she fell in love with the dad. And I'm sure you're laughing because you know exactly what part I'm
Yeah.
talking about. Where like basically this well put together, very reserved woman just becomes feral, and the devil lord Beelzebub is caught off guard and is like, "What are you doing? Wait, what?" And then it just cuts to like a room with a flower, and the flower just falls off the stem, and you just hear, "Ah!"
Your microphone cut
I
out there, by the
I
way.
know I know your mic
I
my mic
heard
cut out for
and then
you.
it just
Everyone else
yeah,
heard
it
it,
just went
but
and that's it.
yeah, it's just a long scream of him killed me. That was the one
Yeah,
part where I
no, that
genuinely laughed really hard, but the rest of it I was like, "Oh, it's funny," but you can't get past the
yeah.
pure etchy.
The the family bits
Ugh.
were a bit much, but I will say the side friendships that they make at the school, like some of those side characters are really funny. Like I do enjoy the one girl who just wants to be like put
Oh,
down.
the childhood friend,
Yeah.
the masochist.
Yeah, 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 the masochist. That one actually her character made me laugh chuckle a couple times. Like, but
Eh,
yeah, overall this was not it was just average. There was nothing really good about it. It just
no.
was
Now, do
yeah.
I understand why it got a second season? Yes,
Yes, 100%.
but am I
But,
gonna watch it? No.
well, it depends on what else comes out that
Hmm.
season, but
No. I think I'll still be fine.
fair enough. My next is a 6 out of 10
You got to get
for
up to
you.
the sevens for me. I only watched.
Lovely.
I got time to
That's
watch good
I
ones.
know. Fair enough. Okay, then I will go through a few of them because I've got a couple in the 6s. I made friends with the second prettiest girl in my class. This one I thought was the biggest I will say this is the biggest fall from an episode 1 to final season rating. I gave episode 1 a 7.5. I gave it the final season 6. I said it's a feel good romance with a few scenes tackling some difficult issues, but nothing that is or hasn't been done before or done better before. Um, it was fine. I enjoyed the relationship that the two main characters had. And some of the side characters I thought were intriguing, but otherwise it was just pretty. It was generic. It was all right. It was, it is
I
what
mean,
it is.
it was just the first episode was just them hanging out, eating pizza,
Yeah,
drinking pop, and playing
I
games.
I thought it was just a very low risk, comfy rom-com is what I was gonna get, and it ended up being some of that, and it ended up being more other things, and I was just like, I don't really care by the end of it. It was just fine. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was just fine. And then bumping up to a 6.5, I've got The Beginning After the End, Season 2. I said again, like Season 1, the animation quality really held this title back. The story of Season 2 ramps up a few things and sets Season 3 up to be really intriguing again, but the animation is just abysmal. Like, it is really that bad.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, there were other shows that had better animation for just various scenes, whether it be action or just slice of life, that were better than the action scenes in some of these episodes. So it was kind of a pity, but I really like it sucks. I see it. The story is really good for an isekai, but it really falls flat due to the animation. Um and then my last 6 or 6.5 here. Go for it, Nakamura Kun. I'll be transparent here. I still have like a couple episodes to go in this, but at this point, I feel like I've gotten what I needed to out of the show. I gave it a 6.5. I said moments of good comedy were buried under moments of cringe and heartfelt youth. But like that itself would probably be like a 7 for me. It would be good, but Jesus Christ, the main character is insufferable. I
Oh, yeah.
cannot stand this boy. This boy is just fucking
I
in his own way, and in just like just
I gave
there's so many. Yeah,
I gave the first episode a 6 mainly just because of the MC. I was like, this person monologues more than Light Yagami and is frustrating beyond belief. And you can get that from episode 1, which sucks because I
yeah,
wanted it to be good. Like it had a good story there. It had the making of a fun rom-com. I love the art style too. I thought that like late 80s,
yeah.
early 90s art style fit really well. But
That's
just
that. Yeah, that's why I gave it a higher one or
yeah.
rating than it probably should have deserved. Is because
A-
I did really like the animation and art style.
And it's funny, I watched through another series that I'll talk about in a little bit, but like that one has an MC that's frustrating, but in a way that doesn't like affect your viewing of the series. Like it doesn't make you want to turn it off.
Yeah,
It's different. Here it's like nails to a chalkboard with Nakamura-kun. Like some other series, like you can have anime that you don't like the MC or you find the MC very irritating or annoying or whatever, but you also find a lot of the positives, right? Every character has
yeah,
faults, but every character has an upside. Like Nakamura, I was like, my God, just you have to give me something to cling on to, because everything you're giving me in episode 1 is just I'm painfully cringe. I'm inside my own head. I constantly get in my own way. I can't communicate. Like I'm like no human being can have this many things going wrong with them. Please, you have to prove to me that you're more than just a giant ball of anxiety rolling through the school.
yeah. It just yeah. If he wasn't so insufferable, it probably would have been a lot higher. But I gave that first episode a 7.5. This ends at a 6.5. So 1 point move, not too bad, but at the same time, wrong direction. I was really hoping for better, but yeah, it is what it is. Uh, I've got 4 7/7.5s. Since I've watched a few more, I'm just going to talk about at least one of them that I know you didn't watch.
Yeah, yeah.
Snowball Earth. I gave the first episode a 7, finished at a 7. I said it felt like watching a Saturday morning cartoon in a very good way. It's a very simple plot, but more gruesome and than I expected the violence to be in the series.
Hmm.
Like they fully dismembered limbs and other various body parts and organs, etc.
Heck
And
yeah.
it took me by surprise. But I
Hooray
really
for
enjoyed it. Like
gory Saturday morning cartoons.
It was literally a gory Saturday morning cartoon, which I was not expecting, but, like, it's been confirmed, I believe, for a season 2, and I'm looking forward to it because I really enjoyed my time with it despite it being more gruesome than I thought it would be. So, yeah. And then the other flat 7 that I got is, Kill Blue. I don't know if you watched all of that or not.
No, no. I gave the first episode a 7.5. This was also one that I was never really high on, even as the manga was coming out on the Shonen Jump app. Like I,
Yeah.
it never intrigued me enough. I always thought like it would be a better anime too. So it didn't surprise me like when I saw it was already getting an anime. I was like, "Oh, okay." But
Yeah.
still there's just I don't know. It was giving maybe maybe I'm biased now. It was giving too much of like Spy Family where I'm like I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the going back to school. I'm tired of the young cast. I'm tired of the like espionage assassin stuff. Like I need something a little bit more fresh, something different to
See,
get me
I
in.
I wish this series, like again, I gave it a 7. I think that the series as a whole, because I've read the entire manga, I think the entire manga is fine. I think that they rushed the ending a bit, but at the same time, like it needed to end before, and they just kept going, and I was like, why would you ever do that?
Mhm.
But it was a good adaptation. I really enjoyed it. I do think it is a better anime than it is a manga. Um, but one thing that I kind of detracted it, other not giving it a 7.5, is the fact that I really hate this trend, and we'll talk about it in further shows. I am not enjoying this new trend of starting an arc and then just ending it mid arc. I really it's a big pet peeve. Like it's fine
Yeah.
if you end your season on just like a hey, this is what's happening and this is what's going to like, like basically Wisteria 1 and Sword, I'll talk about it later. Season 2 ends on basically a cliffhanger of like, hey, this is what season 3 is going to be about, but we're not going to actually start it. This is just purely like, hey, you've met the next challenger, you know what challenge you have to do,
Mhm.
and okay, cool. Here's some after school start stuff like you have parent teacher conferences and okay, we're ending the season. It's just like I
I mean,
really don't like ending seasons mid arc. And it happens again later on in our list.
it could
And
be
I just
worse.
don't like this new trend.
It could be worse. There's an anime that's not done it not once but twice now that I'll talk about later.
Yep.
So,
I'm sure it does. But yeah, that's my last 7. 7.5. I've got the Warrior Princess and the Barbaric King.
I have a 7. I see it's much higher on your list.
Yeah, I
Um,
saw that, and I was
I'll
we can talk
wait.
about it. We could talk about it now. It's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because this is
I
my
think
number
it
3.
Well, that's why we can wait then. We can wait, and I'll
No, no,
explain
no.
myself
It's
then. No, just we'll
okay.
wait. Wait.
All right, all
Yeah.
right, all right.
Um, well, I'll give you a break then. I have a 7.5. Um, it's
Okay,
gals can't be kind to otaku? Question mark exclamation
okay.
point.
I was on the fence on if I want to continue this one or not. I think it
This,
did get an English dub,
I don't
so
know.
if it does, like I might go back to it and
I don't.
watch it.
It doesn't
But
have one right now. I don't think.
oh, it
Unless
doesn't.
unless the cast got announced recently, but to my knowledge, no, I don't think it does. Um, this was so I wrote, and you're gonna have to stick with me for a second. It's like a
Oh
mix
boy.
of Hokkaido gals, unsurprising, and Komi can't communicate.
Oh yeah, you're right. There is no dub for it.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Um,
Hokkaido Gals and Komi. Okay.
so
Interesting.
it's because like with Hokkaido gals, you get the three characters again, like the three main characters with our additional fourth that comes in a little bit later. Um,
Right.
and it's just like they're just gals, right? There's not much more. There are different flavors of gal. Okay. The Comey aspect is the fact that all three of our characters in the Otagal is what it's called, um,
Okay.
have like very weird parasocial, not parasocial, but like social things about them that you're just like, ah, that's your unique quirk. So
Okay.
it
I can see it,
it's
like,
got like
where
the
Comey
personality traits
all
of
every per yeah.
yeah, the personality traits of characters from Comey mixed with just the like very much you are a gal. Here is your cookie cutter gal, like in Hokkaido Gals. And I'm not discrediting any of them because I love all three. Um, but I gave seven and a half
Yeah.
to Otagal because it's like it's cute. It's got a nice story. There's like a LaCroix amount of romance, if that makes sense. Like if this series was a beverage, it'd be a LaCroix because it's like it says it's romance. I don't I don't taste it. You put it near something else with romance in it. Like it's I can tell that it's there. I just I don't believe you. But it was fine because it gave like a nice fresh breath air. It was nice fresh breath of air. Brain's already slowing down to the rom-com because it was no like there was no amount of etchiness. There was no like hypersexualization, which is great because a lot of times you see like anything gal or gyaru and you think, oh gosh, it's just gonna be
Yeah.
these very stereotypical things that the characters are gonna have or go through or whatever, right? None of that, which I'm like, oh thank God. That's great.
That's actually quite nice.
Yeah.
And there's another show on this list that's semi similar to that, and we'll get to that
Yeah,
soon.
yeah, yeah. But no, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice rom-com. It's like it certainly didn't have the pull that a lot of the other like rom-coms have lately, like like a You and I Are Polar Opposites or anything like that. But it
Right.
was just it was a nice like kind of breather, whatever you want to call it, for the time being. Especially in a season where we really didn't have a lot of other big rom-com series, which was nice. I mean, you had like Klutzy Class Monitor, you had the second prettiest, whatever.
Yeah.
Ramparts of Ice, I would just categorize more of just being pure like romance or drama. This was like one of the few I would categorize as being like a true rom com. So it was good. It was good. And already I think I don't know. I don't know if it has a second season confirmed yet or not. But I'm hopeful because it was
Uh,
fun.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I mean, I would hope that it would be just for the fact that, like, when you were in Japan, you said you saw a ton of advertising for it. So hopefully they would, you know, what is it, campaign for a second season with how much marketing they put into it.
They
But
yeah, they did a lot for this series, which is cool. Sidebar, because you brought up Anime Japan. Uh a quick thought on Anime Expo because we won't have time to record an episode on it. I want to give my
right.
quick thoughts on it. I thought it was lackluster from all the announcements that came out. I don't know about you. My wife was there. She even echoed that.
I so
It literally some of the announcements were just repeats of what we already know, what we already knew. Like the big
you're
thing with
not
Steel
wrong.
Ball Run was like they showed like snippets of the next part and then they're like September 2020 September 25th and we were like, yeah, we knew. Like
Yeah. No. I think
but
I, so in terms of news, I would be inclined to agree. I will say that there were a few announcements slash updates that I did appreciate and really
oh yeah.
am looking for or
Yeah, yeah.
forward to, like the teaser trailer for the Apothecary Diaries movie.
Yep.
Looking forward to that.
And a solo
Uh,
leveling movie got a big hype about it too.
solo leveling movie. I could care less. Really, honestly, I'm kind of
That
mad that
was
they're doing
I think
movies again.
that was probably the biggest news that came out, I would think, was the solo
Well,
leveling
I think
news.
probably so, but in my opinion, I think the biggest one for me was definitely the Green Yuri getting a January date.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I like for me personally, that was the biggest one. But like, yeah, I do appreciate that there's a teaser now for Shield Hero season 5. I know Stead creamed his pants when he saw Black Clover second season coming out or the new trailer for that.
It's so
So
funny to call it
congrats
second
to you.
season. It's like when
I
One Piece was like, "We're on to season 2." You're like, "Season 2? What?"
yeah.
No, I
But
just
yeah, there were a few like things that came out that I was just like, "Oh, I was not expecting that."
Yeah,
Also Dungeon Meshi getting a
season
date finally for season 2, I was very appreciative of that.
yeah.
But yeah, like, it was just random little things, but also the biggest we didn't even talk about the biggest announcement, the teaser trailer for Code Lyoko, duh. Um, but yeah,
Is that
no,
coming back?
that's a yeah, that was announced before Anime Expo, and then they showed a teaser trailer for it.
Who's asking for Code Lyoko?
I don't know, but it's coming back, and
I
they've kept the 4 heads or 5 heads,
oh
whichever one you
god.
wanna call it. Yeah,
I hope they get bigger. I hope the foreheads, like, get noticeably bigger.
that or just the hairlines just
Yeah, the
are
hairline
fully receded.
recedes more. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I just
But,
it
no,
was
I would be
weird.
inclined to agree that there was less news. I think this one was more of a I feel like this was more of a beneficial and this is what we actually kinda complained about when we went last year, that a lot of it was news that we can find out about whenever or, episode 1s of shows that are getting episode 1s that week.
Yeah.
But to me, I think that this year's was done a little bit better for the people that were actually there in the sense that they had a lot more of the creators there doing interviews and
So
signings and whatnot. And I think that I know that that was behind a raffle, like a ticket raffle for getting a spot to go or,
mhm.
get a signature or whatever. But regardless, I think that it's better, that they do more exclusive things for the people who are in person there. And in my opinion, that's kind of the bigger pull that I was missing this year.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think because I like when we went to Anime Expo. This is getting way off topic, but I'll just finish real
I
quick.
know.
That when we went, I liked the panels more when it was the production companies, the artists, the illustrators, like the directors, those in attendance to kind of like talk about series. Like even if it wasn't something that was actively airing, it was like something that they had worked on previously. Like I still think my most favorite one was at MomoCon when I went to go see Studio Trigger and they did
Yeah,
all the
I'm still
Delicious and
jealous
Dungeon
about
stuff.
that.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, but but that was like when
It's okay.
Delicious and Dungeon had aired or was like finished air. Like
Had aired,
yeah,
or it was last
it was
year,
like
so had aired.
yeah. So like I mean like something like that. I'm like I like that a lot more. It seemed like this year was a lot more. It changed more towards that, but I don't know. I still felt like a lot of people look at Anime Expo for as being the
The
domestic
news.
equivalent to Anime Japan, right? Like the Western equivalent to Anime Japan in the sense of like we're getting all of the exclusive announcements in the second half of the year, right? Like,
Yep.
oh, this is where we get some of the exclusive stuff and we get to see some of the exclusive stuff. And I feel like there's less of that, but maybe that's not what people want because to your point, like we can see it the next day online or like, when
Hours
I
or
watched
minutes later.
like when I went to when my wife and I went to Anime Japan, like I got to see the intro the opening sequence for Witch Hat Atelier. And I was like, "Oh,
Yep.
sick." And then it's like, "Oh, wait, this doesn't really matter all too much because you had already seen it like a week and a half ago for the Crunchyroll premieres in
Yep.
theaters." So it was but in Japan it was like no one had seen it yet, right? We went to the
Yeah.
Otagal one too and like that's cool. But like those things I think are fun, the exclusivity, but it's like it's short-lived. Cuz literally the next like 30 minutes later it's
Yeah.
online. Like people can just watch it on
Unless
Instagram.
Unless it is one of those things where it's like you see the voice actors performing their lines and
Which
nobody's allowed to take videos of, which
yeah,
yeah,
that we did that
but
at Anime Expo last year, which I love too. We saw My Joseph
yeah,
Darling, we saw Call of the Night. So like stuff like that is really cool. But
yeah,
it seems like
I
there's less
agree.
and less of that with Anime Expo. I digress. I digress.
Yeah. Anyways, back to our list.
Yeah.
I had mentioned this show right before you were like, "Oh no, well, you take a break." So I was like, "Okay." But back to it. The Warrior Princess and the Barbaric King. I gave a 7.5. Um, I said it's a really good start to a new series. I wouldn't put it in the great, but I would put it above a good. But really good start to a new series, which is still ongoing. Like the manga is still going on currently. I really hope that it does get a season 2, especially since we get like a good amount of progress in the main relationship and the very last like minutes of the fucking last episode, and I just it's like finally, but then it's just like wait, there's no season 2 confirmed.
I mean,
Fuck, I really hope this does get a season 2. So it was
it
good. I really enjoyed it.
couldn't be as worse as Yamada-kun at level 999. That one,
True, but at the same time, that series is still ongoing as well.
it
So
is, but we don't have a season 2.
that's because there's not nearly enough material for a season 2.
I don't know. My wife read through a lot of it when after the first season
I thought
ended. She
that
was like,
they
"I
bumped
can't."
up close to where it was like current when they ended season 1. So, regardless. But yeah, my last 7.5, you had actually mentioned it when you were talking about your last show. The Klutzy Class Monitor and the Girl with the Short Skirt, I gave a 7.5.
Yeah.
Um, I actually finished this one today. I was really enjoying this one. I kind of blew through it because my buddy Toe was just like, "Man, I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was a lot better than it should have been." I was like, "Okay, I guess I gotta watch it now." And yeah, my notes here were that it's almost like a Kaguya-sama light. Like it's not as good, but it does have very similar characteristics as Kaguya-sama.
Mhm.
And I really enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I do appreciate that they have uh, some of the relationships throughout the series do progress quicker than anticipated, and like we actually see fruits of that labor. But the comedy in it was really solid. I think that it had some really good moments. And again, the relationships were the main things, and they were really solid. So yeah, I thought that this was when you had mentioned otaku or what is it, otaku
Otagal.
gal? How do
Yeah,
you
Otagal.
otagal? Where you're saying there's no real fan service to it, etc. Like there really isn't all too much fan service to this one either, other than like the class president. She kind of is the fan service, but that's basically it. So I really enjoyed that the fact that they presented this girl as like, oh, she's got a short skirt and she's kind of similar, like gal
I
adjacent, but
want a
like they really
girl with
don't
a
do
short
too
skirt
much
and
in
a
a
long.
long jacket. But yeah, they don't really over, fan service her character, which I greatly appreciated. So yeah, no, I gave this one a 7.5. Did you finish that show or no?
No,
Oh,
absolutely
I
not.
didn't know. I haven't taken a look at
I
your
didn't
list.
even
I don't
watch
know
the
what you have
first
and haven't
episode.
finished. Oh, okay. Fair enough. It does have a dub. I think you would enjoy it, but at the same time, I know you don't go
No,
back to a lot. But
yeah. I'm
but
sure
I
it's
did really I did really think that there was some good into this one, and I enjoyed my time a lot more than I thought I would because I gave the first episode a 6.5.
wow,
So
what a glow up.
yeah, yeah. Well, whole point. That's not too bad.
Not bad.
So, but it's not my biggest jump of the season. We'll get to that somewhat soonish. I am in the eights. Do you have any other sevens?
No, sir.
Wonderful. I'm going to continue with two other shows that you did not watch. So two eights here. That time I got reincarnated as a slime season 4. I said the show remains to produce remains a fun and solid like series. Like the story season after season progresses pretty darn well. I know this is only core 1 of like 5, and core 2 is starting to air now. I
Crazy.
believe, I wanna say. But yeah, I really enjoyed again, this show is just a lot of fun. It's really good, and it's not a slop show where you turn your brain off. I think that this is just an enjoyable show as any other. So, it's a good isekai. And then the, other 8, which is another continuation series, which also is the end of a series. Dr. Stone Science Future Core 3 gave it an 8. I said, well, I don't mind, quote unquote, who the big bad was. I was not a huge fan of the resolution that they provided to the conflict. I
Mm.
said, overall, the series was still really solid and provided good times one final time. So, yeah. I again, it's if you've watched Doctor Stone, you know what you're getting yourself into. Except it's over now. So, hooray.
Hooray.
Uh So yeah, I've got two 8.5s, which one of them I know is going to be on your list, or at least I hope is on your list. So I will talk real quick about the other. Um, Agents of the Fourth Season, Dance of Spring. This is my biggest jump of the season. This one honestly took me by surprise. I gave episode one a 6.5 and it ended at an 8.5. My first episode review was a mythical love tale between the seasons of the year, which the seasons are embodied by individuals. I said, not my cup of tea, but Studio Wit made a compelling first episode. It got a dub, so I continue watching it. And my notes here for the season were probably my biggest shock of the season. It isn't the type of show I normally go for, but the animation was great and the story was compelling, albeit a bit messy with its timeline. They do jump back and forth and
Oh,
provide information, but like you always know if you're in the past or present, but you don't always know where in the past this fits in its timeline. Like, is it part of the timeline where she's kidnapped? Is it part of the timeline where she's rehabilitating? It kind of gets a little messy there. But I think that the villain for this season was truly diabolical and really well written. I think that their motives were very well thought out and well played out. And honestly, I really enjoyed it. There is a lot more action in this show than I ever expected it to be.
hmm
For just being kind of like a romance shojo type show, but the action scenes that they presented were really good. Again, Wit did the animation and they won't half-ass anything. I think that this was a very good, very great start to a new series. I do hope that we do get some more of it. But yeah, no, where they ended it was a very good like bookmarker of like, okay, you could end it here or you can keep going. And I do hope that it keeps going because I legitimately thought that this was a great start to a series. So yeah.
very good.
And then the other 8.5, which I hope is on your list, is Daemons of the Shadow Realm.
That is my number three.
Okay. Then how many do you have left?
I have two left before I get into my tops.
All right. Why don't you go over those and then we can get into our top.
Perfect, because they're both in the eight category. Eight for me, which is my biggest jump. I'm gonna exclude another one because of reasons. Um,
Sure.
Botan Kamina fully blossoms when drunk. I adored this. This was one of the few where I like randomly, I shouldn't say randomly, but I gravitated towards it more when episodes were airing. Like
Hmm.
when new episodes came out for some other series, I'm like, oh, wait a week or whatever. I'm not in the mood for it. But every time an episode came out, I was like, yes, more. And I think it was because of one aspect that I only learned about probably halfway through the season, which is there was no prime director, I think, for this. They used like multiple people kind of directed episodes. And so like the art
Huh.
style would change like
Oh.
like dramatically. And it was really fun. Like it still kept the same tone, but you could tell certain episodes were done by certain directors and yet it still was cohesive. It still felt like it was one series. It didn't felt like segmented, mini series within one whole season. Um, it was some episodes gave like Gynax type style of animation, which was really fun. Other ones gave
Oh,
kind of
that's
Trigger.
interesting.
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
Well,
I loved it.
Gynax and Trigger are essentially the same,
Essentially
but
the
yeah.
same, but you could there's like very distinct differences between the two that you pick up on. It's like it's something like that. Like we're very subtle things where you're like, "Ooh, I like what they chose to do here for this particular scene," or "I like how they portrayed this. I like the panning shot of this particular sequence." It was things like that. I loved that aspect of it, but more so to the anime, I thought this was a really, really fun Yuri. It's an adult Yuri. We don't get a lot of these, which is great. It's again a lot of seasons you'll hear. I guess for this, the theme of this spring season is a breath of fresh air. A lot of these series that I watched were like, wow, this is kind of like a detox from the last couple of
Yeah.
seasons. So I'm like, this is nice. This was certainly one of those. I gave it a 6.5 at the beginning because I was like, hey, skeptical. It's just romance, cute characters, and alcohol. Like, there can't be much there. But the story was really deep. The characters are like extremely mature, albeit they all have these very different, almost at times polarizing personalities that clash, and yet they find some common ground, some familiarity with one another, and create these different tangled relationships. My one criticism is because they're all college students and
Right.
they live in like a house, right? So some house that they
I
rented.
watched the first episode, so
Yeah,
yeah, they
it's
yeah, yeah.
the the thing that always crossed my mind is this a house that's like everyone just knows on campus, oh, if you're like if you swing a particular way, you should go live in this house because every single character was romantically involved with someone of the same sexual identity uh as themselves. So it's I was like, what are the chances, huh? There's 6 of them and all 6 of them. Really? But that aside, it was great. It had elements of like a travel anime. You got to see different parts of like one particular region of Japan. I think it's somewhere
Yeah,
far north of Tokyo. I can't remember what area, but they talk about different distilleries, different breweries, different like famous places to camp, to go explore, like all kind of fitting in again with this like theme of alcohol and drinking as being the one element that can always bring them together. So no, it was great.
common
There's so many
denominator.
yeah, basically so many layers to it too. Like it the the thing that I really appreciated was that they were able to take what seemed to be on the surface a very simple storyline of just college dorm mates finding who they want to be through like a common interest in alcohol and drinking, right? Or like just
Right,
kind of like vices because one of them smokes too. It's just like one of them likes to go to hookah lounges, right? Stuff like that. But they were able to build like these very deep, very mature characters, and the story that they were able to tell through them was just very impressive. So I would highly recommend. This is one where I if you're looking for like the heavy romance type, it's probably not for you, but if you're looking for something like that feels very mature, and I say that not like X-rated, right? But like mature in the sense of like
right.
there's a lot of thought behind it. There it's not just like I like you too. Oh my gosh, let's go. It's there's
Hooray!
there's many more angles to it. There's the maze you have to kind of the characters travel through is immense. And but the way that they tell that story and they get through that maze is spectacular. So if you're looking for something like that, this is I think by and far my top pick. Albeit it is in a very tiny category in itself. So, it might not be fighting against much competition. But at the very least,
Yeah.
if this speaks to you, highly recommend. If not, just watch the first 3 episodes and you can see the animation differences. It's staggering, but in a good way.
Oh, good. Yeah, it seemed like a show that I probably would have enjoyed. I never went back to season or episode 2, so it just kind of fell off and was
It's
like, eh.
it yeah, I mean like I don't want to diss this one because I haven't seen it. I know you were excited about it, but also got to like upset, well not upset, but like disappointed with it. But like bartender is like very much just in your
Yeah,
face. It's alcohol, right? I was worried
yeah,
that that's what this would be, but alcohol is just like kind of the small tiny bridge that you walk over this like much larger landscape of things, right? Like it's always the bridge is always going to be there, right? There's always going to be alcohol involved, but it's not like the main focal point, right? There's so much more to this picture that's drawn out. that you get to enjoy with, again, that added little splash of, "Ooh, look, they're in this different area that specializes in this type of sake," or, "Ooh, look, this particular beer is known in this area," right? Fun little tidbits,
Yeah.
but a majority of it is the relationship building, the intertwining of all these different personalities. Like that's the core aspect. So the alcohol is just a nice little cherry on top to it. So that's what I enjoyed about this.
Very nice. Yeah, if I get the time, I'll go back, but it's just been that is the premium thing right now is
Yeah,
time.
time.
I've not had a lot like there were a lot more things I wanted to get through that I just didn't get through because holidays or just other social obligations or, just chores around the house because
Or
it's a never
work.
ending list and work and family visiting and etc. So
Mhm.
there's just a lot. The things I didn't get to get through, but it's fine. It is what it is. Life will go on. I don't need to watch everything. So, uh, okay. You said you had one more eight. What is
Yeah.
that?
So the one that just didn't make it into my top 3 was Akane Banashi.
Okay, that is
It
my
was
two. So give
yeah, yeah,
me.
yeah. I'll give you some
We'll do
time.
one. We'll do one other show that I have that's just outside my top three, and then we basically got each other's top threes to
And then we're
talk
get
about.
yeah, yeah.
So the one that's just outside my top three at a 9 out of 10 was Storia 1 and Sword Season 2. I said a great second season. Unlike ending mid arc, we had what felt like the ending of a part 1 in the middle of the season, and then just continuation into part 2, which is fine. I think that is a okay because they end the season at the end of a good portion of the arc for part 2, like if you can categorize it as that, because it does feel like a big departure. Like when the quote unquote part 1 ends, like they do the whole credit sequence where it goes over from episode 1 of season 1 to where we are at now. So it felt like a finality of part 1, and then part 2 started, and we
Mhm.
got like a solid 6 episodes out of part 2, which
Mhm.
was a full arc, and it ended at a very good part. So I do like the fact that it ended on a good cliffhanger, that it felt right, it felt natural, and it made you wanting more. um it wasn't until this season, and I feel really fucking stupid about this. It wasn't until season 2 of this series that I found out that the author, or the person who does the story, anyways, they're not the mangaka or the person who does the illustrations. It's the same fucking writer for Don Machi.
Oh, really?
It is the
Huh.
same writer for Don Machi, and like
So
now that
there's
I know that, I'm like, "Fuck, it all clicks, it
so
all adds up," and
so
I'm like,
there's
"Is there a crossover?" Because there is one character that is a fucking copycat from both series, and I'm just like, "How the fuck do they have to combine at some point." I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know where, but they have to because this one character exists in both fucking worlds,
I was
and
gonna say,
yeah.
is it just that there's 10,000 different characters that you have to remember?
Honestly, no, they narrow it down. There are a
Oh,
lot of characters,
good.
but they narrow it down a bit better. Like
Oh, that's good.
there are two main teachers will that are reoccurring. The principal is reoccurring. There's a couple other smaller reoccurring characters that you don't really necessarily need to know about. And then you've got your main character, his best friend, who's at the top of the tower, who he's trying to, go see and basically keep their promise of going to the tower together. And then you get a handful of smattering bullies and that become friends, and just other various friends that they are mainstays in the series. So
Mhm.
it's season 2 was very good. The animation quality of it was also very, very good and top notch, like season 1 was. But the story that it tells that's unraveling is also enjoyable, and again, I'm current on the manga, so I know where it's going, and I think that the adaptation for season 2 was wonderful. It was really good. It was really fucking excellent, and I'm so excited for a season 3 because it's been confirmed. So yeah, I'm very excited for that. But that one was just outside my top three. So my three, which was outside of your top even five probably, we can talk about Marriage Toxin. This was my number three. So I gave episode 1 a 9, and I ended on a 9. I said Bones absolutely made this better than it ever should have been, because the series as a whole is like, it's very similar in like the arcs that it follows. It's like, hey, you have a girl in distress. They have or are a potential marriage suitor to the main character. Resolve conflict, go on date, repeat, rinse and repeat. And like that is basically what season one was, but they somehow made all the characters a lot more enjoyable and personable than the manga really can come across. Like the fact that fucking Kimmy has just the most obnoxious laugh and snort is so fucking great. I absolutely love it. They absolutely nailed this adaptation. I'm so excited for more of this series because this is a series. It comes out every Tuesday. Manga chapters. It's still ongoing. They are kind of heading towards the final arc. Um, but like it's an enjoyable series. It's not my favorite series that I'm reading week to week. Hell, it's not even my favorite series that I read on Tuesdays. But like I thought that the adaptation here elevated the series to something I didn't think it could be. So I really enjoyed it. Really stellar start. Can't wait for season two.
Uh,
And I know you had it much lower, but that's fine. Like
yeah.
it's a difference of opinions, but
I
that's just how I felt about it. As
no,
somebody
I
who has invested time into the manga since
so
basically chapter 1. I think I started when it was in chapter 20 or
so
something.
I will give one piece of criticism. I'm not discounting your ranking. All I will
Sure.
say is I feel like much of what your review was based on was how much you were impressed from the adaptation itself.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad I have that because I was not impressed. I gave it a 7. I gave it a 7 still. It just I think my problem was it had been hyped so much. It was heavily advertised when I was in Japan. It was heavily advertised leading up to its release. Like this was going to be one of the top shows for the season. And I'm like, all right, obviously I've heard of the manga. I haven't gotten around to reading it, but it seems fun. It was a series that my wife was like, yeah, let's watch it together. And I was like, yeah, let's watch it together. Sounds good. We watched the dub. Everything was fine with the dub. I just was not thrilled by the story. I thought the pacing was weird. I thought it was very lackluster. I just like, while the premise is very simple, find a wife, right? And then it's just like you said, rinse and repeat. I can usually get behind something like that, but there has to be some sad satisfaction is not the right word, but like some sort of closure at the end that makes you feel like it was worth the effort that you had gone through. And there just wasn't any of that ever throughout the first season. And I'm like, are we ever going to get it? What are we leading to? Because it just felt like this was going to be like this never ending story of I rescue girl, I make friendship, they go away and do something else. I rescue girl, I make friendship, they go away and do something else. It was like, I can only tag along for this so many times before I just go, either you need to find someone or I'm going to kill you. Like one or the other. But no, I mean, like
Yeah.
I thought like I said, I said the characters were enjoyable. I like the power dynamic, like the system of there being four families of these different arts, and then a lot of like branches off. Albeit some of them got goofy, like One Punch Man superhero power level goofiness. Like even My Hero
Yeah.
level goofiness of like I'm the spear master. I stabbed 150 people to death, and now I've mastered the spear. I'm like, what? How did? Okay. Like there's stuff like that, and I'm like, you know, it's whatever, it's goofy, it's fine. But I enjoyed that aspect. The story itself, and again the pacing. I felt like the first 7 episodes just were a fucking blur, and then it just crawled at the end, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oof,
I will say, even reading the manga, that last arc with the beast users, that one specifically reading week to week was pretty painful. I don't
tiresome.
think that there
Yeah,
yeah, I don't think that there is another as long as that. Maybe the
I
most current one is as long, but like in semi dragged out, but for good reasons.
and it,
But
and
yeah.
it's not like it's not. Well, no, it is that's fault. I was gonna try to give it the benefit of the doubt. It's just
I
like
mean,
I understand
you
going into an anime, like you obviously we always harp on it. You have to make it entertaining, right? There's gonna be parts of a manga that are gonna be drawn out. I mean, we'll talk about one at the end of this episode that I think is a very good candidate, honestly, even though it's my highest ranked for the season. But like you still have to make those strategic decisions, and I know then it pisses people off. It's like, well, you cut this or you cut that or you didn't show enough of this or this went by really fast, and it's like, yes, we get it. We can't put everything that we want in there. It has to be digestible. This one though was like, it felt like they had a pace going, albeit in my opinion a little breakneck, but whatever, it's fine.
Yep.
And then it was like throw on the emergency brakes, do the mom arm bar stop, you know, when she slams on the brakes in the car level of like
Yeah.
slowing down, and I'm like, whoa, I got like whiplash. So it's it's not, I will say this is one of the few sevens that I will likely go back and watch season 2 when it comes out. I'm not thrilled by it. I'm hopeful that it can get better because again, I like the characters, I like the power system. I just really need that story to improve, and it didn't give me any sense of like actually progressing in a meaningful way where I would be
Um,
actually excited. It just kind of like farted off at the end, and I'm like, it's, I mean, it's fine.
yeah.
It's
I
whatever.
will say, if you're frustrated in that aspect, you've got about 3 more characters for that to happen to, and then it gets into
And
just like
then oh great.
yeah, sorry to burst your bubble there, but I'm just gonna
It's
give you a fair
fine, it's fine.
warning
We have
that
100
it
Girlfriends
happens
now.
more.
100 Girlfriends
But
season
at
3
the
is out.
same time,
I can get that level of yeah, I can get my
yes, I
closure
know, but,
there.
like,
Hooray.
I think one of the things that I really enjoyed about this series as well is just the fact that it's an adult cast and it's an adult, like,
Yeah.
harem type deal, in the sense of, like, it feels like a shonen harem, but it's not. It's an adult cast. Like, it's not
I
overtly, like, sexual and horny and whatnot, but, like,
can
it
I
could have been, but they didn't. What?
um so as I mentioned, wife went to Anime Expo. She went to a panel, I presume, where they talked about marriage toxin, and I guess the director was there. This might this might
Oh,
this might make you
no.
eat the words that you just said. Would you like
Oh,
to
boy.
know, this is according to her, okay? She was in person, but I cannot verify other than word of mouth. Would you like to know the director's favorite scene from season 1?
It had to be with Kimi and something with her boobs,
You could
I
ding ding
assume.
ding ding nailed it. It's the scene where
The
he
hamster pops out?
no, where she's like
Okay.
feeding him while he's on her lap. And
Oh.
it's just like her peering over her own mountainous tits at him. And
Again,
my
like,
wife texted me that instantly.
it could be a lot hornier than it actually is,
Oh
but,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it is a
No,
solid adult harem, and
I
I really, really appreciate it, and
I
yeah,
only said that because of the last thing that you said. I'm gonna see
fair
if I
enough.
can find the text. But yeah, I okay. Yeah, she said she was at the marriage toxin panel. The director and VAs are here. Direct quote from her text. OMG, the director's favorite scene is the gruel serving booby scene. Awesome. Man knows
Uh,
taste. Hey, you can't blame him. Knows taste.
nope. But yeah, no,
That
I'm
killed
very
me.
excited for season 2 whenever that may be because the show is a delight in my opinion. So that is my number 3. We can go into your number 3.
Mine is Daemons of the Shadow Realm.
And I gave
I
this an 8.5.
I I thought in terms of how do I want to start this? I mean, I can just read exactly what I wrote, I guess. I said, could not ask for a better start to a season, especially from Hiromu Arakawa, which, if you're not familiar, Full Metal Alchemist. First episode left plenty to be revealed, but gave you just enough to not feel completely lost. And then from there on, it was just like, all right, let's build everything out, right? Like they set the stage extremely well in episode one. It certainly was confusing. There's a lot that happened, like a lot that happened that was just like things getting
Yeah.
thrown at you left and right, but it wasn't enough to overwhelm. And they finished it off with just a touch of information that gave you like some ideas to what transpired, but still left a lot to be discovered. Um, the nice aspect though is that it feels like we got much of the mysteries kind of resolve or those initial questions resolved very early, like within the first 6 episodes, and you're like, oh, cool. But then once you learn that, it's like, all right, well, what about this aspect? And then they start going to there, and then it's like, all right, well, then there's this aspect. So it just kept kind of evolving and rolling around. You didn't feel like you were jumping and like leaping and making like these massive like hurdles you had to go through, right? To like get an answer. It just kind of felt like a natural like steamroll of questions being
Yeah.
answered, new mysteries being uncovered, those questions being answered, new mysteries uncovered, right? So I was very impressed. I thought the animation was good. I don't like to harp on animation all too much just because again it's like
Yeah.
most
It's either
anime
it's
this
good
year's
or it's
yeah.
not really.
But I mean like I think the key things to this which I I mean having watched Full Metal Alchemist a bajillion times along with Brotherhood a bajillion times, I'm like the author does this very well, and I was not surprised that they did it well, that she did it well here. Storytelling and pacing were perfect. I thought for her first season, absolutely perfect. Really didn't there's not many flaws to it, albeit like I don't think it's a 10. I don't think it deserves a 10. Like
Yeah.
as it at its core, it's nothing exceptional. I think it's
To
really
me,
good, but it's not transformative, we'll say. It doesn't give you that like, wow, this feels really new, this feels really fresh. It certainly feels intriguing, but like it doesn't give you this sense of, wow, this is like definitely like a new perspective on this particular theme or this particular type of story, whatever however you want to
right.
describe it. But it was still very good, very solid, and it's still going. We still have a core two. So this is again,
Yes.
preface this by saying it's only core one that we are talking about. Core two might shit the tank. Who knows? Core two might blow my socks off even more. But I think for a first 12 episodes, beginning a new series, and I will also say, I feel like a lot of anime fans do hold prior series against a mangaka, where it's like if you've done X thing and that X thing is like the most magical thing ever created, and now you're making a Y thing, people are like, you this thing better be as good as X, or I'm gonna blow it to smithereens, and you're like, wow, no pressure, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it didn't feel like the fans were like that here, and it got the respect it deserved. It got the criticisms it deserves too, I think, but it wasn't like, well, this is no Full Metal Alchemist. Ugh.
Yeah. So I gave it an 8.5. My notes were really short just for the fact that it's still ongoing. I
Yeah,
said a really great start to what will be a longer series. Looking forward to core two. I think my so here's it's really kind of difficult to discuss in just a different way, and I'm just gonna try and word it as best as I can.
yeah,
I watched all of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood when it was already fully aired, so I was able to watch it from start to finish. I could not imagine watching Full Metal, not that I couldn't imagine watching Full Metal Alchemist. I think I would still have the same frustrations with Full Metal Alchemist as I would with this series as I'm having now, because as good as the story is and like the pacing is, which I will give it its credit where credit is due, it is very good in its pacing and it's very good with revealing information in drips. However, the fact that there is no real necessary, like, we don't still to this day know what the entirety of just like the end game plot is. Like in Marriage Toxin, we know, okay, he is trying to find a wife so that his sister doesn't have to marry into, whatever.
Mhm.
In this, it's just, hey, we are trying to figure out where mom and dad is, but it's a mystery as to why they've disappeared. There's a mystery as to who the actual villains are.
Mhm.
There's still so much of the end game that is shrouded, which again isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it is somewhat frustrating that we're building to an unknown, and once that unknown is revealed, if it's shit and you've already made us invest this much time into it, is kind of frustrating. Um, I I won't say that that's the only reason why it's an 8.5 and not a 9 or 9.5, but to me, I do tend to enjoy series where I know what we're kind of building our end goal to be. And this not having necessarily that is kind of just like eh,
Can I can I
it's
draw an
sure.
analogy to what you're saying?
Sure.
Because I think this is where you and I differ, and I think a lot of people differ too. But same result at the end. It's like you being given a puzzle to do with the picture included. So you know what you're gonna make. But you still
Correct.
have to make it. You still have to build it. You still have to
Right.
find the pieces. You have to connect them together, right? Versus me just saying, here's a puzzle. I know the pieces fit together. I know they go together. I know the edges, right? You start with the edges. It's the easiest way to do it, but I don't know what the picture is yet. I'm building the picture. I think it's a difference of like perspective where I feel like your viewing of an anime is more so like I can't wait to see how they get to the ending versus my viewing of the anime is I can't wait to see what the ending is.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the two primary storytelling methods, right? It's like, hey,
Yeah.
here is your conflict and go figure out how you're going to resolve it versus hey, here is a conflict.
What's to
What's going
come
to
after?
happen next?
Yeah.
Like
No,
there's
and
no
and
there's no
I
one answer to that one, right? Whereas the other one kind of has like you know what that one answer is. It's just how are you going to go about solving it, right?
right, and I won't say that that's necessarily a bad thing. Like, I like your
No, no,
picture
no.
analogy. Like, I think that, series like this, because the author has a proven track record, it can work very well. I also think that this type of series or like this type of storytelling can also bite the viewer in the ass very badly. And that's where I'm just kind of
Yes.
like, that's where I'm hesitant. And again, when it works, it works. But when you just fuck one thing up that can alter the entirety of the series going forward, that's where you can lose a lot of people and a lot of trust. And I that it, and I hate to even bring this up. You had brought it up, and where it's just like, hey, this got the fan accolades of just like, hey, this is a Full Metal Alchemist, but it's still as like it's still very good and good quality,
Yeah.
like Full Metal Alchemist was. You can still like, with this type of storytelling, you can flub it at the end, kind of just like how people went into Lazarus being like, it's from the creators of Cowboy
Cowboy.
Bebop,
Yep.
and they have this proven track record.
Yep.
And then they make a new series, and they're like, what the dog water was this? Even though you and we both enjoyed that series, it can tank very quickly.
Yeah.
If it doesn't resonate.
Yeah.
So that's just my one fear, is that like something in that end game just doesn't resonate with the audience, let alone me. I and that's just I like your picture analogy, but at the same time, when it's done correctly, it's great. It's absolutely wonderful, and I'm really like, again, it started very great. I gave it an 8.5.
Mhm.
I'm just very hesitant with these types of stories. That's my only, like, hesitancy for this is just that it can burn people.
No, I 100% agree, and I think it directly ties into my number 2. Um, like,
Which
that perspective.
okay. Speaking of number 2s, let's get into yours and mine because yours I don't think I've watched.
No,
Is I know
you've
what our
already
number 1s are, but I don't know what yours is for
you've already
number
said
2.
you're gonna go back. It's ReZero, season 4.
Oh, duh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
As
it's
little spoilers as possible,
no,
please.
I have no spoilers. I just my feedback was it's a series. There's no other series I've watched so far where I've said what the fuck more than in ReZero. I think for most fans that have watched through even season 3, if you haven't watched season 4, I'm sure many of you had to like rewind and be like, "What the what? Huh?"
Yeah.
I had 3
Yeah.
moments in this season alone where I had to rewind and be like, "What the what? Huh?" Um,
And this is why I can't watch it week to week. I just need to binge
well,
all of it because otherwise the picture is either
s-
I'll forget a detail or like the picture isn't clear.
oh, is so
I don't know. Anyways,
there's a lot that you said there I have to unpack, but I want to touch on everything in order from how my brain was organizing it. So, first thing I mentioned earlier, alluded to the whole comment you made about a series ending kind of mid arc.
yep.
This is not technically ending, but we have the same issue from season 3 where we now have to wait a month and a half for the remainder of the season to air.
Oh
So I
no.
believe I will do a quick check because it should be right at the top of live chart. But I believe
I'm not
there are
going to look this
nine
up because if I if I
there are
search it, it's
19
gonna be like
episodes.
cliffhanger.
There's 19 episodes. Episode 12 will air in 35 days.
Fuck me running. That's
Yeah.
awful.
So I don't know when episode 11 dropped, but since then it's been basically a month and a half, a little bit less than a month and a half. Um, so that's frustrating to beyond belief. Uh, however, that aside, this season has been wild. Um,
June 17th was episode
every
11.
June 17th was episode 11.
Yep.
Oh my god! So it is a month and a half.
It's
Oh,
been a month. No, it's
it's
gonna be
been a
2
month, so
months.
2 months total. Yeeshy Pete's. All right, well, fun stuff.
Well, thank you for letting me know that
Yeah,
because I can just hold off
you could
on
hold on.
watching it.
Yep. Uh, no, this season has been a whirlwind. But point two that I was going to address is it goes directly to what you were just talking about with Demons of the Shadow Realm in that I think people, especially going into this season, will
Mhm.
have lost sight as to what the true goal of this entire series has been. Because every season seems to create another goal on top of another goal on top of another goal. And then we solve like
Right.
one and a half of them. But then like another problem arises. So it's like, all right, now we got to do this goal. And we're going to go to
Yeah.
this new area to resolve this goal, right? Do this is not a this is a trick question somewhat. Do you know what the overarching goal of this series is?
To figure out why Subaru got sent to this other
No.
world and get him back?
No. That's quite literally never mentioned. No.
Oh. Is it then to get Amelia placed as the queen
You got it.
or whatever?
You
They're
got it.
doing like the competition between the 5 queens or
That
whatever for
happened.
princesses
That
in
happened
season
like
1.
season 1 or like core 2 or core 1 of
It
season
was
2.
at the back
Like,
half of season 1 or
yeah,
early half of season
that's
2.
how
Yeah, no,
long
I remember that.
that's the through line. Like that is by all definitions the quite literal like
End goal.
resolution, yeah, end goal for this entire series. But and yet,
For me, real quick
yeah, yeah,
aside, for me, an isekai to me is just figuring out by the end, is homeboy gonna stay in the other world or is he gonna go home?
right. Well,
That's
because
usually whenever I think of an isekai, that's like the
so
resolution. But the through line for this world, yes, is the princess parade pageant election,
well,
whatever you want to call it.
to your point though, right? Like we don't know what happened to Subaru. Like, we just know that he was walking from a convenience
He was
store and just
just standing on the
"Huh,"
sidewalk.
did like like I hate that. That's like the most triggering sound. And then the like
I need to
those
make
two sounds
make it
horrid.
a Discord just fucking
That's your
soundboard.
entry. That's your entry. That'd be funny.
The
Honestly,
bah.
I'm doing that right now. I'm making my Discord voice chat global sound to be the huh, like when he like goes back in time to like his checkpoint.
Oh, that's so good.
Terrifying.
Anyways,
We'll see what
sorry,
people react.
we're off topic here, but
No, so like okay, so where I was going with this is this season, you wildly enough, you almost hit on another quote unquote goal that comes up, which is why is Subaru here? It comes up in this season. And I'm like,
oh,
what a
okay.
very interesting time to do it. Albeit it fits in with some of the sequences that occur. So you're like, it adds to the layers of what the fuck,
Yeah.
like for this particular portion of the season. But like, I had to remind myself at the very end, after I realized the rest of the season doesn't come out for another 2 months. I had to remind myself, I'm like, what is the goal? The goal is to get Amelia elected, basically, or chosen to be the
Yeah.
new ruler of this
Voted in.
land. Yeah. I'm like, that's been the goal. What are we doing here? And then I had to go through like, this is why we're here. What's everyone's objectives here? This is this person's objective. This is this person's objective. This is the whole group's kind of
Wasn't
general
it just like
objective.
after that election, it's just like, hey, the white whale, we have a tip for this. Like, we need to go kill
Yeah.
this white whale because it's been a nuisance. And then it just devolved entirely from there of just like,
Yeah.
here are
And
the
then like
seven deadly sins. Like,
the seven did this,
we killed, well,
the
whatever they are.
archbishops of sin. Yeah.
The
No, I gotcha.
archbishops of sin, it's just like, "Oh, we killed one. Okay, let's go on to this next town. Oh, they
And
all
then
just invaded," or, like,
well, but
I
then
don't
and then in
oh, no,
between
no, season 3 or 2 was that city. It was just fully in that one city
that
with
was season
the
3. Season 2 was like Subaru exploring the witches because it was there was the trial that Amelia
right,
had to
no, sorry.
run.
It was in that, like, hidden
The
city
forest.
or
Yeah,
town, the
like
forest.
yeah.
Yeah, the town in the with the tiger people,
Yep.
essentially. And
Yep.
then season 3 was just like, "Oh,
But you see,
well, if we're gonna defeat all these fucking bishops or whatever, we should go to this town next to find this weapon or whatever."
do you,
And then just season 3 ends, and here we are with season 4
well,
in
and
the
then we
aftermath
have
of
like
season 3.
we have the who meme that
Yeah,
comes blah blah
but
blah. But so wrapping this all up into what you were just saying, I can understand people watching this season and being like, what quite literally what is happening? Like what's going on?
what are we doing?
What are we doing
What's
here?
happening? What are we
What
doing?
is what are we going towards? Because I know like the mini goal for this particular season is X and Y. It's like
Right.
X Y Z, we'll say. But our overarching goal, our goal A that's been started way back in season 1, when are we going to get to that? And
Yeah.
better question is, do people even remember that? Right? Because like your first response was, "Oh, it's how does Natsuki Subaru get back?" Valid question. Doesn't come up until season 4. Oh, is it how will Amelia get elected? Ding ding ding. I honestly don't. I honestly think half of the people watching it will remember that, just because there's
It
so
would be a
much.
good It would be a good fucking interview question, or not interview question, but like con question of like,
Like, what's the
"Hey, do you
goal of
remember what the
ReZero?
what's the goal of ReZero?"
Yeah, yeah, legit. Because everyone will have a different answer, and they're not wrong, right? If they're like, "Oh, it's to get someone's memories back," we'll just say softly.
Yeah.
It's to rescue this person who's trapped. It's to whatever. It's like you're not wrong. You're kind of right, but that's not the true end goal. So
Right.
this is all
So
to say, because it's just funny that these are items that you had kind of touched on in other areas of our conversation. But this is all to say, though, that season 4 I thought was still like superb. For
yeah,
now, I'm gonna put this as a big tentative for now because
good
the way
old
that it
asterisk.
the way that it ended, it I was like, hell yeah, on to the next episode. Fuck me running. It doesn't come out for another 2 months. Never mind.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what a weird spot to end, especially knowing that we almost have like half ish. I mean, it's slightly less than half. It's 8 episodes, right? So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, 8
Yeah,
episodes.
so 8.
So it's like we can categorize this as being like a halfway over, and I have theories as to what's going to happen, but how we get there, I'm not sure. So,
Yeah.
it
No,
could
that
fall on its
definitely makes
face
sense.
completely.
Um, we're gonna move on because we have gone for entirely way too long, and we're gonna talk, I think, a good bit about these next 2, so which really is
Yeah,
eh. Uh, my number 2, you're outside of the top 3,
just
Akane
barely.
Banashi.
Just barely.
Um, yeah, I know. I gave this a 9 out of 10. I didn't give it higher. I probably could have, but I just stuck with my guns and gave it a 9. I said it's an absolute blast of an adaptation that I'm excited will be coming back in January, which was confirmed that January is when season 2 will be airing.
Hooray!
So thank God.
Hooray!
Excuse me. Hooray! Um, but yeah, no, I think that going into the series, like having read the series for so long, and once the anime like was announced, it's just like, okay, splitting this off, where feasibly will they end season 1? And I think you and I even had a discussion on where season 1 would end, and it perfectly ended where I thought it would. It was great. They took their time with it.
Mhm.
They really fleshed out all of the storytelling, the Rakugo storytelling, and the scenes that they were portraying. Really thought it was great. I think that the voice acting was superb. I still got to go back and watch the English voice acting because from the first 2 or 3 episodes I watched, it's actually really solid.
Mhm.
So, and which I would hope so, because I think the first 7 or 8 episodes came out on YouTube before they even appeared on Netflix. But
I It's my
yeah,
biggest
what?
gripe.
Oh,
No, just the
what's that?
I watched the entire thing on YouTube. That was my biggest gripe.
Oh, yeah, but at the same time, it's like if you have premium, you don't have to have ads, but, like
It's the principle,
yeah.
man. It's literally the principle.
To be fair, I will, and I know it's a gripe, and yes, I would agree for the fact that it's just another platform that we have to watch it on. I will say, at least it's accessible to everybody, and
Oh,
you don't have to pirate the show. You
yeah,
can
yeah,
just
yeah.
watch it with or without ads legally for free on YouTube, and I think that that inclusion and that kind of being on that platform is actually beneficial to a smaller I say smaller because it is a
100%.
very niche type series, but I think it's very beneficial for this series overall.
100%. I agree. I feel like it's a
Yeah.
slight against it being on YouTube. But that's just me.
You're
That's
not
just me.
wrong, but
That's just me.
you're not
Um,
wrong, but at the same time, yeah.
fun fact.
But no, I really enjoyed season 1. I thought it was great. I thought it was wonderful, excellent. No, a little notes, but that's about it. Continue.
Fun fact. Uh, Another thing that my wife discovered at Anime Expo, the voice actors actually performed their lines as if they were performing Rakugo.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, which I thought was very interesting. So they actually sat down on the cushions as they were
Oh,
delivering
that's
their
so
lines.
dope.
Yeah, I thought that
That's
was cool.
so dope.
Um, no, I mean, like, I gave it an 8.5. I truly could have just kept it at a 9 with what I gave the first episode. I don't really think there's much to that goes against it. I will say that it does move fast, but in the grand scheme of things, that's kind of how quickly the manga's paced. We've made
Yeah.
complaints about another aspect of the manga that won't be animated for quite some time, presumably. Um, but at the end of the day, I think they did a great job giving visuals to something that realistically could only have been heightened through an animation, and there's limitations obviously on paper. It's like how do you portray someone who sits down on on a cushion in front of a mic and tell stories in a way that's entertaining? And it's like, "Oh, you bring the story to life." But that's it when you're doing it in a manga, when you're doing it in illustrated form like that on paper, you are effectively just drawing the story itself. Does that make sense? Versus like in an animation, you can
Yeah.
highlight how the audience kind of perceives it being told. Like these characters kind of ephemeral beings come out and you can see everything kind of transforming around the storyteller like in a very, I don't know how to say it, like spiritualistic type way, you know? Like that can't be
Yeah.
it's there's limitations on paper. And they captured that perfectly. I think just my biggest gripes are I hated that it was on YouTube. I think it's an insult. But I also thought if you're watching it for the first time, it could go it is quite fast. I think it's a lot of information being thrown. You're getting like what's Rakugo, what's these different levels and tiers, what are the different story types? Like there's so many different rules around it. Why is it so popular? Like, who's this grumpy guy with the crazy eyebrows? Like, why? What's his deal? Like, what about what's the guy with the fucking Tengen style forehead, where it just goes up for days in like a skyscraper form,
And
like,
then ends in a square.
and it ends in a square. Yeah, like it can be a little like little
Odd.
overwhelming. I think for someone, I think if I had to put myself in someone's shoes that hasn't read it, I think I would have to like slow down and be like, all right, I'm gonna just like one episode right now. Give me some time. I'll watch the next episode at some point. Like this is a lot to take in because it can be pretty information heavy. But having read it, having quite a fascination for this type of art style as well, um, it was great to see it animated. So I tried to be somewhat unbiased in this because I feel like otherwise I would just give it a 10.
Yeah, and I know that in my like kind of description, I said that like it was a blast of an adaptation, but I think even just taking the fact that I am a fan of the manga out of this equation, I think that this is one of those series that it's such a different niche type show or like niche subject
Yeah.
that getting to explore somebody else's world, this is a wonderful way to explore. I think that they did everything very well. I
Hmm.
think that they made a compelling character from the get go and, put their reasoning behind it and gave them motivation throughout that will last the entire series.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that, we'll say some closure by the end of season 1, but there is still just like, okay, now that we have some closure to a question, here comes the revenge arc, baby.
Yeah.
So like the fact that it progresses the story in a very good pace, in my opinion, it was well. But yeah, no, the manga really does kind of present the very beginning slowly, and then after season 1, I feel like it's a breakneck pace of, like, here's different things that you're learning, here's more characters, and go on this
I don't
side quest and that side quest.
I
I
don't
feel like it
know.
goes rather quickly
I don't know. I feel like
because it feels like yesterday that chapter 1 or 100 came out, and, like, that whole
yeah.
big panel that
I
we see in it was just like, "Wow," and now we're already in, like, the 200s, I
yeah.
believe. I'm
Well,
just like, "Holy shit."
I think they could take a strategic position with season 2 and they could spend more time with certain like we'll call them mini arcs that are about to come up. I think you don't have to. It felt like season 1 didn't have really any breaking points. It was like you had the one episode, give you the background, give you your conflict, right? Then you
Yeah.
kind of went into, all right, here's leading up to when she's can actually start training. Like, all right, now she's training. Okay. And now she's learning. Okay. And now she's competing. Okay. Now the season's over. Okay. It's like, okay, that was a lot. I think season 2 you can spend a more time and kind of drag it out a bit more and have it still be very entertaining. I think there's a lot of like characters that we're going to get introduced to in season 2 that I feel like deserve the time and patience that can be put into them, especially again with their arcs and all the other um relationships that are built between those characters as well. that will be satisfying, and you don't have to continue at this kind of pace where you're like, all right, this character, 2 episodes, boom, done. This character, 2 episodes, boom, done. This character, 2 episodes, boom, done. All right, now we're into like this mini arc, the remainder of the season, boom, done. And you're like, whew, boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's just on the outside. I could have given it a 9, could have given it a 10, like I said, but kind of going in somewhat unbiased as much as possible. Still thoroughly excited for season 2.
Yes. Same. Did we talk about your season 2? Yes, we did.
Yeah,
We
we're on
talked
the
about
last one.
ReZero
We're
already.
done. We're
Last
done.
one.
Last one. Should be no
Last one,
surprise to
which
many.
correct, Witch Hat Atelier, our number one show of the season.
I really don't.
I gave it a 9.5.
I did as well. Can I present a something that we should discuss without objection?
Sure.
I think rather than talking about and gabbing about why we love this, I think we should talk about the frustrating part of it. Because
The
in my
fact that it
opinion,
ends mid arc.
yes, in my opinion, like if you've listened to the podcast, if you listen to us talk about different manga and series and stuff like that, this has always been at our top for like I can't wait to see this animated, the world, the art style, which that's my biggest plus to the adaptation is that they did such a good job with the art style, kind of keeping true to the form of the manga series. Love that, which is it's challenging. Like the fine art
Yeah.
detail in the manga is like it's like Q Hayashita level of like just detail, but in a very, very,
Yeah.
very distinct different way. Um so yeah, no, I mean it shouldn't be a surprise, I don't think, especially given that this season, sorry if you like something else in this season, spring season was kind of like middling, we'll
There's a
say.
lot.
There was a lot.
There
There
was
was
a
a lot,
lot,
but
but like,
it wasn't it didn't come in, with a full tank of gas, we'll say. All right.
okay.
So this isn't surprising.
Agree to disagree, but fair. Like
Eh.
there weren't as many, 9 out of 10s, but I've certainly had other we've had other seasons that were
Oh,
definitely worse
trust
than
me.
this. I feel
Trust
like,
me. No. I'm not. Those seasons were like you were running on empty, desperate to get to the gas station. Like this season was still like you were going, but you weren't hitting, 6th gear. You were stuck a gear behind, which is fine. It's okay. We need a detox, like I said at the beginning. So Witch Hat being at the top, I don't think is a surprise to many. I do want to spend a bit of time on this because it is extremely frustrating how season 1 ended. Because going
yep,
into the last few episodes, I'm like, oh, I know how this is gonna end. What a great way to end. And then
yep,
it started, and I'm like, ooh, this seems like we're not gonna get too far. I wonder if they're gonna end on this cliffhanger. Cause that like there was one point where I'm like, if you end here, not bad. Very, very interesting, we'll just say, for lack of a better word. But I can dig it. But where they ended, I'm
yeah.
like, but for why?
For what reason?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I'm completely on the same page. Like, that was my kind of biggest reasoning why this is a 9.5 rather than giving it a 10. Because
Yes.
my notes for it was the show was incredible, and episode 5 set a gold standard of animation. However, it sucks to end the season mid arc with no news on when season 2 will air. Again,
Not even.
now that Anime Expo has come out, like, we do know
Yeah.
when season like that it's in production, but we don't know still about when season 2 will happen.
And
Like, it's great that it's, like, greenlit. I don't think there was ever a question that it wasn't going to be greenlit.
no.
It was just a matter of time, but, like, the fact in the matter that they ended it mid-arc, mid-cliffhanger of this arc of, like, basically is just
But
incredibly frustrating.
it wasn't that it was just mid arc. It was like at a very awkward point where you either needed to give it just a bit more or you needed to stop it like 10 minutes prior. And
Yeah.
we don't want to go into spoilers in case people haven't seen it. That's why we've kind of avoided spoilers for most of the series we've talked about so far. But if you have seen Witch Hat Atelier, but you haven't read it, one, I would genuinely would love to know your opinion on how it ended, because I bet a lot of people look at it and they're like, "Ooh, this is a very fun cliffhanger. Am I frustrated that it's over? Yes. But am I even more excited for season 2? Absolutely. I can see that. No doubt. I think for the
Yep.
both of us, we're in the boat of why would you
WTF,
make
mate?
why would you make the decision to end there? Uh Again, I'm not a director. I do not make any claims to be knowledgeable in the space of directing, let alone
Yeah.
animation or anything of the likes. So take this with a grain of salt. I don't understand why you wouldn't end it at the point where a more traumatic thing happens and have that be, for any of you League of Legends fans out there, have that be your arcane level type ending to season 1, right? Where like you get this sense of dread of not knowing what the hell just happened, right? But there's not this sense of, oh, I can't wait, like I know what's gonna happen next, right? Like what's well, like, I like what's gonna your kind of reaction is, oh my god, what is gonna happen next? The way that this
Yeah.
season ended, I'm like, well, okay, we kind of know what's gonna happen. They're gonna have to go through this whole trial in this one area that was briefly mentioned in a backstory by Kiefer in a conversation that took place like 2 episodes prior.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but like, just why? Like, why introduce that now versus have that be your big surprise moment at the start of season 2? Like, oh, and by the way, subtle reminder, hint, hint, let's do a little flashback moment too to that conversation, just to remind the viewers from season 1 what happened. Here's your new arc. Because you can even you can make the argument that you could technically you could try to separate the two. You could have it be the trial arc and then the, we'll call it the the dungeon arc, we'll say, for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that was it left a very poor taste in my mouth when it ended. Because I literally watched it with my wife, who has not read it at all. And she was like, "That's it?" And I'm like, "Yeah. Are you
Yeah,
upset?"
we're not too pleased about it either.
Yeah. Well, because she was upset because she's like, "Oh, that's it." Meanwhile, I'm sitting next to her upset, like, "Why the fuck did they end it there? What? Why? That doesn't
Yeah.
make any
Like,
sense."
this is getting out of hand in this industry. Because again, I think that this one is more egregious than, I know I talked about another one that ended mid-arc.
Was it
La, la, la,
Wisteria?
la, la.
You said season 1?
No,
Oh.
Wisteria had a good, like, cliffhanger of, like, here's what's to come in season 3, not, "Hey, let's start the arc."
Oh.
Um,
You had mentioned
no,
it.
it
I
was
can't remember.
I know, and I'm trying to go back and look, but I'm just like, "No, I don't know what it was," but, um,
But
yeah,
yeah,
it's just it's really, really entirely frustrating that, oh, it was Kill Blue. Kill Blue was the one
oh,
that
well, who cares?
this was just more egregious because at least with Kill Blue, it's like, hey, here's what the next competition is going to be. And then they just kind of continued it, but that continuation really didn't have a whole lot of meaning towards the main plot. So
Mhm.
it wasn't as egregious as just like, here's this big reveal in this big moment. And until next time, when's next time?
Can
God only knows.
can I make a
Uh,
can I make a bold claim? Or
okay.
maybe not a claim. Let's present it as a question instead, and then I'll be wrapped up with my thoughts on this because I know we're well over time.
Yeah.
Do you think that the age of arcs, albeit mini or major, art is over and it's been
No.
replaced with just like how can we give you a good just season? period?
Um,
In anime, right? Because we're
I
not talking
would
about manga.
say I would say yes and no. No, in the sense that we are now in the age of getting movies that are arcs
Well,
that might
I would
because again,
I would argue that kind of goes to the claim, right? Like
how
if you're
so?
I
Because it's you're still getting an arc. They're just like, hey, this arc is
but
like
if you're if
it's small enough that it's just it wouldn't make sense to
I
put it in,
I mean
the
Chainsaw
next
Man's the only
season.
one that I know of, right? You can't attribute that to Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer has 3 movies for 1 arc.
Right, but it's still quote unquote an arc. It
But
is an
that's
arc. Like the season before that movie was the Swordsmith Village arc.
but
The
that was
season
6
before that
episodes,
was
that was 6 pages or whatever. But
right.
my point is that, like, the idea of maybe I should present the question more so as, is how we define an arc becoming more and more skewed or more, like, have we departed further away from, like, the classical style of what we consider to be an arc, right? Because you think of arcs, you think of, like, the Yu Yu Hakusho whatever tournament arc. Everyone brings up that arc, right? You think of the Chimera Ant arc from Hunter x Hunter, right? You think of like all
Yeah.
these very iconic arcs, and it's like it's usually tried to contain within a semblance of either a season or two, or if you're One Piece, it's you just call them the whatever island arc,
2
even though there's
decades.
yeah, even though there's no season realistically. Um, it's just now it's like whatever's convenient. How about that? I I would present it as arcs are just whatever is convenient for the purposes of putting out the anime. I would not consider the Swordsmith Village arc, or no, the Swordsmith Village arc. That's an arc, fine. The Hashira training arc, not an arc.
That's yes, sorry. Thank
Like
you.
that's not an arc. That is 6 pages or 10 pages, 6 episodes, whatever bullshit that they did. Like that's not an arc. Like that's a break point. That's a pause. That's not an arc, right? And then to transition to the Infinity Castle arc that you've now compiled into 3 different movies is like throwing in the face of what a true arc is. I think that the point I'm trying to get at is I feel like anime is doing whatever is most convenient for like the anime itself and less so cares about how it's told and the pacing of it in the manga. Like they're looking at this as this is a great cliffhanger point. Not only does it align with how far we've progressed so far, but it's an excellent way to give the viewers what they want. Just this sense of like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what happens next at the very end, right? And to many anime fans, I'm sure they were like, whoa, what? No, I want more. Give me more. But to manga fans like us, we're like, what a very awkward, ill-timed
Yeah.
moment to end a season. And I think that's kind of what I was getting at is like I feel like it's whatever's most convenient for the anime and this idea of like staying true to an arc or fulfilling the story contained within an arc is less important than it is whenever it's translated into an anime. Those are my thoughts. My final thoughts.
Okay. I still think like there are yes and nos. I think some of the more not mainstay, but like mainstream series like your Witch Hats, your Dandadans, your hell even kind of solo
Well, I
leveling
mean,
to an
even
extent.
Dan, honestly, the last season kind of ended a little bit on like a
No,
that
both seasons ended in a like mid arc,
but
like at the
that's what
very beginning,
that's
mid
what I
arc.
mean. Doesn't it
No,
feel
I know.
awkward
Again,
and
I'm trying
weird?
to no, just full pause.
Okay.
I'm giving you instances of yes and no. This is yes. Yes in the sense that this is weird. It's not the first time, but it's only been happening in kind of the more mainstream series. So your Demon Slayer with your movies is bullshit. Dandadan, Witch Hat, etc. Like what I was just saying. But also in the sense of no, that like we still have shows that follow the arc system,
Yeah.
and despite that, just like they're not going to stray away from it. Once the arc is done, it's like, hey, if they're, we're just going to end the season here or there. Marriage Toxin added a 13th episode, to contain the rest of that arc after the
Oh,
Beast Clan arc.
convenient.
Yes, but like you have other shows like
I mean,
fucking
ReZero has
Akane Banashi.
ReZero has
Akane
19
Banashi was
episodes.
yeah, but ReZero is also just this isn't the first time they've done this. That's
Yeah,
kind of
and
also an outlier. But like
n-
Akane Banashi, they had their first season end in 12 episodes and it ended at the very end of an arc going into
yeah,
the next one. Like I think that it just really depends on the series. There are some that are doing this weird new stylistic thing where it's just like, hey, let's just put out all this and just kind of go with the flow. I
but
don't like that. I
no, I
really think it's shit. But again, I don't, to answer your question of like, are we moving towards it? I don't think so. It's only happened in a handful of different
but
series.
I think the my concern, and I'm not saying this is like is a like objective statement, right? I don't think personally that arcs are becoming obsolete in anime. I do think though that the trend that we're seeing in many of the AAA anime that are released, the ones that are, as you put, mainstream, that are doing this, shows that there is some shift away from the idea of kind of keeping true to a story's arc. And I fear that other series will take note of this and be like, wow, it does kind of work for them, right? That maybe getting that gotcha moment for the audience is more important
Yeah.
than keeping true to the story arc that's told in the original series. That I think that's all I'm just saying. I don't think it's becoming a one size fits all thing where like, oh, be every new series now is gonna have this weird awkward moment where they're gonna chop an arc in half just for the purposes of leaving the audience off on a cliffhanger. I don't think so, but am I going to be surprised anymore when I do see other series doing it? No, honestly, because the formula has kind of been created. Whether or not it's worked is up for debate, right? That's one's opinion, but
Yeah.
Dandadan's doing it, Witch Hat's doing it. I mean, Kill Blue did it. I don't think it's that series is AAA,
It's
but like other
yeah.
series are adding on episodes. Other series are making awkward seasons. Like ReZero's been doing it for quite some time now with these weird like 19 episode, 27 episode, whatever series. Like
To
it's not
ReZero's
uncommon.
defense though, it is a light novel and not a manga.
Yeah, I know, but
So
releasing 11 episodes, taking 2 months off, then releasing the final 8 is a little bit of
it's
horse
odd.
manure, we'll say. But I just I think that is something to for fans to look out for. I'll just say. I think it's we're not at the point where I
Yeah.
find it to be troubling. I don't think it's becoming the norm by any means, but it's a point of discussion. I do think that if you're seeing more and more of these mainstream anime take that stance, maybe not stance, but take the position of, hey, we're better off leaving our audiences on this incredible cliffhanger than we are keeping in line with the arc that's told in the manga. That other directors and other studios are going to be like, I mean, it's working for them. Let's see if we can fit it in, right? So I think it also is dependent too on if the mangaka is involved because I feel like someone like a Fujimoto, someone like Arakawa for like Shadows of the Daemon Realm, Daemons of the Shadow Realm, uh, like wouldn't be aligned with that, right? Because they're very much true to their source material. But for others, it might just be like, hey, whatever's gonna get the audience just begging for another season, do that, right?
Yeah.
If it's easier to get another season greenlit, do that. So we'll
Yeah.
keep an eye
No.
out.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out. It's definitely starting, but I don't think it's become necessarily quite a trend yet. But I don't like what I've seen when it's been done. So
Agreed.
Thank you all for joining this long-winded
But we hope
episode
you
of
liked
our
this episode, is how that
but we
segue
hope
should
you
have gone. Literally
yes.
teed it up for yourself.
Dude, your brain farted, mine's already dead in a ditch, all right? Like, fucking
I was
anyways,
there for the big old assist, but whatever.
and I fucking, like the US soccer goalie, fucking whiffed it.
You didn't just
Anywho,
whiffed it.
thank
You stubbed your fucking toe in the pitch and almost ate grass.
that I did. Thank you all for joining us this week. We greatly appreciate it. We will be back, oh, excuse me, next week with a brand new episode. But if you want more of us, please go follow us on social medias at Bakacopodcast, wherever you get your social media feeds. I've been Frankfurter. That has been Magically Average. Until next time, Spark Triumph. We'll see you then.